Welcome to the Functioning Grief Stir, a podcast about grief, love, and the legacy those we've lost still leave behind. I'm Alexandra Spencer, a sports and holistic therapist and a grieving mom to my son Declan, my best friend, my sunshine, my soulmate. Each week I sit down in the back of Dec's van with someone from the club no one ever wants to join. We cry, we laugh, we swear, and we honour their stories, uncovering the powerful bonds that even death just cannot break. There's no script, no rules, just honesty, heart, and a lot of courage. This podcast is part of my one-woman mission to challenge the taboo around grief, especially when someone dies too soon. I don't believe their name should be buried with them. Their voices still echo through us. So if you've ever felt like you were thrown into a cold, dark ocean with no rescue ring in sight, this is the place for you. So grab your life jacket, you're not alone. Hi, welcome to the Functioning Grief Stir. Today I'm here with Hollie. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Welcome to Dec's van. So we're here to talk about your son Archie.
Yes.
So can you tell me what made Archie Archie? Let's start with that.
Oh, God, it actually gets me like thinking who Archie is. Very, very passionate about anything that took his energy, and very, very energetic little boy. He was a gymnast, MMA, there was nothing he didn't try. Horse riding. I put my kids in every hobby they could possibly do until they pick what's right for them, or they enjoy, or they show talent.
Yeah.
And it was very clear from the climbing and bouncing at a very early age that Archie was going to, and how bendy he was, that he was going to be into gymnastics, so I put him in gymnastics.
Yeah. And what kind of level had he got with his gymnastics? What was he able to do?
He was part of the tumble squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was part of the squad, so yeah, he was always somersaulting, which I think a lot of people, when you've got a child that's somersaulting on concrete, a lot of people are like, oh, but it was just a normal thing for Archie.
Yeah.
Really. He's very fearless. Very fearless. But yeah, there's nothing he didn't try.
Yeah.
Horse riding, we'd done trampolining regularly as, I say a treat, it was just part of his activities.
Yeah.
Because Archie had quite some time out of school for various issues that obviously we've discussed. I had to keep his social development going because it's so important, children's development. And socialising with peers. I put him in every activity I could possibly think of. So, yeah, whether it be trampolining, horse riding, his gymnastics, MMA, boxing, kickboxing.
Very active young man.
Very active, and always had more energy. I was just saying to somebody this morning, the steps on the seafront, you've got like these, about 100 steps, I think, they just go up. Off of the seafront, and I remember Archie doing his gymnastics and boxing, so that's 2 hours exercise, kickboxing, 2 hours exercise at the age of 6, and he still had so much energy, and I remember laughing at him, and you've just got so much energy. I know where I'm going to take you, and I barely made like the first set of steps. I think I was out of breath, and Archie continued to run up and down these steps, just laughing and giggling. But yeah, he's still bouncing around when he got home. Yeah. But I loved it. I think a lot of people, especially schools, see the whole hyperactive label that goes with children as an issue. I think it's a gift. If you've got a child that's got a lot of energy, work with it. It only becomes a problem if you don't work with it. Yeah. And then they're climbing the walls. Yeah. I've always been very physical anyway, so I literally love the fact that all my children are into physical things. My daughter's into her horses, so she jumps, she does all of that. My eldest boy, MMA, and Archie, just gymnastics, MMA. But everything else, they were his two extremely talented things. But to be honest, Archie was good at everything. He tried everything. We tried him with football because he so wanted to do football. Bought in the whole kit, the boots, the lot. I was like, you sure you want to do football? I think he'd done it twice. He didn't want to do football. But at least he tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't knock him for that. He wanted to try. So anything he wanted to try,
So a very supportive mommy by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
And I know that you had your special date nights as well.
Yes, every Wednesday we done date night. Archie had girlfriends, I think, literally from when he first started infant school. And one particular girlfriend, Ellie May, he was with for quite some time, a couple of years I think. But when I say was with, so myself and Ellie May's mum would get together before Archie's tuition because he was having private tuition, and obviously Ellie May would come, Archie would come, they'd have their own table, so that they were in a relationship. Whenever there was Valentine's Day or anything, he would walk around Tesco's and come out, like one particular occasion with this big teddy, a rose, all I need to get now, mum's chocolate. And so I had to laugh because it is how, part of the date night is this, when you get older, Arch, this is how you treat a lady. Even down to, I would hand in my card and be like, it's your job to pay the waiter, none of this half stuff, it's your job as a gentleman to look after your girlfriend. You know, old-fashioned values, whether some people are up for that or...
I am.
It's an individual thing, isn't it? But that's how I wanted to raise my little boy. You know, and and it was even down to tipping the waiter, and I think the waiter was so sort of taken back by it, he gave him the money back, but he was like, thank you so much, you know. So we have Archie's birthday every year at this particular Italian.
Was that his favourite food Italian?
Well, it's just this restaurant that me and Archie used to go, and they, like, I think he part felt grown up in there because he'd be like, I'll have a mocktail, which is obviously a non-alcoholic cocktail. And on his birthday now, every year since he's not here no more, they bring out his mocktail and his spag bowl. And we have his picture there, and they're brilliant restaurant. That's El Pescatore in Southend, they're brilliant.
Little shout out there.
Yeah, little shout out there for Dan Bozzotto.
I'm definitely hearing that you and Archie have got an amazing bond.
Oh, the best. Best, and very, very powerful bond. I love all my children, as I said, all my children equally, but there's something about me and Archie's relationship, and I don't know whether it's because Archie had almost 4 years out of school. I had to fight the education system to get Archie a mainstream school education. Took that to the High Court's Justice and won, and an order was placed on Southend to put him in a mainstream school. And the school, in the end, we didn't have to order the school wanted to take him, and that is the difference. The school wanted him. He didn't feel that rejection, and that's why it worked, and it was successful. And he had an amazing one-to-one, Miss Minnie, and Mr B, the headmaster, that's just crazy as a box of frogs, I think is the word. And they made it work, and it was successful. But I think that's probably where the bond, because Archie was at home with me all the time, I wanted to repair the damage that had been done by the primary school for ostracising him, putting him in a one-to-one room and taking him away from the other children, because that's where the damage starts with these children. And then they expect them to go and socialise and mix with the rest of the class naturally, but how can you? You're isolating them from their peers, and you're starting to, it's that conquer and divide thing, isn't it? You're starting to divide, so you've already singled him out and made him feel different from the other children. You can't expect him to go into the classroom and perform like the other children because he now feels different. He's labelled, and I fought so hard to remove that label because I know that they had it wrong. They were trying to label Archie as a behavioural issue, and I knew it wasn't, and I knew that it was attachment disorder, which the educational psychologist agreed with me, and anxiety. And the anxiety, I think, was probably caused through bringing him away from the rest of the class. So he then become fight and flight when he was going back into a class, and so I studied Super Nanny, and I put Archie into trauma therapy, and I think he had 6 sessions of that, but it really made me want to understand psychology in children, and I really studied it and totally turned him around in 7 months. Not that I believe there was any problem with him, but just expressing his emotions and things. He was brilliant. He's brilliant.
So you're
Amazing.
definitely his biggest cheerleader. And
all day long. Always will be. Until the day I die, I'll be Archie's fan. He was unique.
Yeah.
And I think so many people on Archie's page have said before that, how can I love a little boy that I've never met? But because of everything you put up about him, Hollie, like, we feel like we know him, you know, and that speaks volumes.
Definitely, like I'm getting the vibe of like a real little gentleman who adores his mom, is super active, like a little bundle of energy.
Yes,
and obviously I don't know Archie, but I can see that in the way you talk about him. You know, that's really clear, and I think that knowing all of that brings what happened in April 2022 so much harder, because there's this gentleman who's a little ray of light.
His presence was felt so much. So it I think anybody that loses a child, obviously you feel that loss.
Yeah. But
I think as a parent, when you go from doing things 24/7 with your children, not obviously just the general mum, I think mums and dads out there, but you know, you've got amazing parents out there that I've always said your life stops becoming your own when you have children, and if you still think it's about you, it makes you a bit of a selfish person, because it's not about you anymore. And I fueled everything into my children. I don't know whether it's because of the childhood I had, and I didn't get that. I had a very, very traumatic childhood, and I always promised when I become a parent, I'd make sure my children had a very different childhood to mine. And I don't mean going without. Well, we didn't go without. We had our basic needs were met, but I wanted to go above and beyond, and things like I wanted to be a gymnast, and my parents wouldn't fund that, you know, so I'd take my stereo over to the local field and teach myself, but obviously I was never going anywhere because I wasn't part of a gym club. So when I saw Archie's ability and love,
so he takes after you then with the
he
flexibility.
does, and it's funny because at Archie's funeral service, I hate that word funeral, but his funeral service, his gymnastics manager, she did a speech, and it was quite similar really to Archie's headmaster, but she said she always remembers the day Archie come to get a placement basically, but to view the gym. She said she'd never seen a child scan and work the whole of the gym within the time limit that Archie did. You know, I think he literally tried every single apparatus within about 2 minutes flat, you know, and then, obviously progressed very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But and the headmaster, he said because they do their visits, they go to the child's house. So the school that finally accepted Archie, the mainstream school, Earls Hall, they come to interview, if you like, meet Archie at home, and Mr. B said that when I met Archie, it wasn't a typical visit. Archie was trampolining, but not just trampolining, he was trampolining Archie style. It's just, we had like an 18-foot trampoline, like Olympic-sized trampoline in the back garden, and he was boing, boing, boing. He's like, watch this, you know. He's an amazing little boy. Amazing. But very, very close relationship.
So if it's all right with you, because I know all of that changed. On the 7th of April.
That was the last time I ever heard Archie's voice and heard his giggle.
Are you okay if we talk about the moments leading up to that?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
In your words, your story.
Yeah, so we'd been out, we'd been to get something to eat, and we ended up, it's funny because Archie said we had a regular place to eat, the kitchen in Hamley Court Road, and I said to Archie, come on, we're going to go and get something to eat. He went, oh, I beg you, not the kitchen. That's like, all right, okay, we'll go and find somewhere else. So we was driving around and ended up at, it's the Vegan Tree, it was called. So we've gone in and Archie's ordered a chicken burger, not thinking, and fries, and I've ordered, I think I had spinach, not spinach, sorry, avocado, the green stuff, avocado on toast. I'm sure that's what it was. But yeah, so we've ordered the food, and then Archie's gone to me, it's not chicken. And I've looked at him and I went, what do you mean it's not chicken? He went, I ordered a chicken burger, it's not chicken. So I've called the woman over. And obviously she's like,
Oh no.
No, we're totally vegan, so it's like a chicken substitute. So yeah, me and Archie just laughed. I said, just eat your chips and go somewhere else and get something to eat, you know. Anyway, ended up popping into Tesco's. Yeah, and then went home. We was going to watch Batman. He asked to go to the cinema that day. So, and when we was at Tesco's, actually, he asked if I could order a new coat. So his brother had sent him a link through, or along those lines. He was sending him clothes or something. I said, you're probably better off to ask Tom. Anyway, so I think Tom was sending him ideas. That's Archie's brother, his older brother. Yeah, so we went home and I needed to charge the phone. And so I've gone into my room, my phone charger's sort of behind me, so I've plugged that in, just sort of laid back on the bed for a second. And Archie's come into the bedroom with his gym bag, like, you know, one of the drawstring bags.
Yeah.
And he's like this, and he went, I've got something for you, I've got some sweets, present for you. And I just looked at him and I started laughing. I went, no, you haven't, you've got the rabbit in the bag. She could clearly see the rabbit was moving.
No.
Yeah. It wasn't done up, but yeah, he's got like the rabbit in the bag, and with that the rabbit popped his head out, so me and Archie were just cracking up.
So he's a little clown as well then?
He was definitely, he was definitely a joker. He was a joker, he was a charmer, he was an athlete, he was everything. He ticked every single box, that little boy, every box. And yeah, so my phone's rung, and I didn't want, obviously, Archie to hear the conversation, so I said to Archie, can you take the rabbit downstairs? And 4 minutes, 23 seconds my phone call was, and when I came out of my room, I found Archie on the stairs, suspended with a dressing gown cord. And he was standing on the stairs, and this ligature was just, the only way I can describe it, it wasn't round his neck, but it was like a hoop, and he had placed his head in the hoop. And yeah, just went into panic mode. First of all, I thought he was joking, because it was literally 4 minutes, 23 seconds, this phone call. And yeah, just done everything that you're told not to do in an emergency situation. Panicked. Tried to lift him and get the ligature over the head, couldn't quite do it. So moved it forward, like from under, sort of here. And went outside, screamed for help, come straight back in, and then I suppose the adrenaline kicks in, doesn't it? Just snapped it, and then yeah, and then with that, I think the bit that really hurt is that I didn't catch him in time, so he'd become a dead weight as I snapped the thing and fell over the banisters, had landed flat onto the floor, sort of bounced onto the floor, like flat. Gone running downstairs. Definitely knew we weren't playing at this point. And because his colour, his temperature, everything, it's just normal. Yeah. Then started CPR. My neighbour come in, took over CPR, like phone 999, took over CPR. Then the ambulance arrived very quickly. The ambulance arrived. But yeah.
I just want to take a moment to just take that in, because no mum should have to see that. I know that for me, when I turned around and realised Dec had gone, I know what that's done to me. Yeah. And I think that needs to just be held for a minute, that this isn't just losing your child. This is the trauma in seeing what
I don't think I'll ever process that trauma
as well.
Ever.
And, you know, what you went through, even just in those few minutes, is horrendous. You had done everything you could, you, your neighbour, CPR, the paramedics. Can you then talk me through, I know that there was nearly 4 months.
Yeah, so I stayed with Archie in the hospital room, and they tried to tell me that he was brain dead very early on, like day 2. We've removed the sedation, which I found very, very conflicting anyway, because the whole idea in brain injury is to put a child into a induced coma to prevent swelling. Archie was making his own attempts to breathe, and they said we're going to put him into an induced coma for neuroprotection. And then he's going to the Royal London Hospital, and which should have been, or what we was under the understanding, the impression that he was going for a decompressive cranioscopy to open the skull to allow swelling.
Okay. So am I right in saying, just for people that have never heard of these sorts of injuries before, what happened with the accident affected
swelling to the brain,
creating swelling to the brain?
Yeah. So
they were trying to help with the swelling in the hopes that in doing that...
The first hospital was.
Okay.
I've obviously got, which is where a lot of my trollings come in. I went into a legal battle with the hospital, and I've got no issues from what I can see with Archie's medical records with Southend Hospital. My issues were when he arrived at the Royal London. There's certain things I can't say because I've had a gagging order placed on me, reporting restrictions, and so I have to be quite brief. However, they went along the lines that we've removed sedation on day 2, and straight away went into the whole conversation about his organs. And when the lockdown hit, I went down the whole rabbit hole, like I know quite a few people did, and found myself educating myself on things that I didn't really want to educate myself on, to the point I had to come away from it, because it's a very dark world out there that most of us have never looked into before, but when you do, it's very scary. It's not nice. So I was already educated, unfortunately, on the biggest nightmare that was about to unfold, and that was brain death and the lie behind brain death. Archie was gripping my hand, so straight away I started the evidence taking, filming, pictures, recordings, and the news did actually play one of those videos of Archie gripping my hand and me shaking my hand, trying to get his fingers off. My hands were red where he was squeezing so tight.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, I've still got that, yeah.
Okay, so are you okay if we show that video?
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
Here's the video. How many weeks or months after?
Oh, I don't know, I'd have to look at the date of it. But I think everything changed when... after the hospital realised that I'd already removed him off the organ donation thing, and can I just stress that I'm not against organ donation, but I'm against not fighting for somebody's life to give other people's children a chance to have life, because my child is equally as important. Exactly. So I expect you to do everything within your power to save my child's life, and they didn't. They didn't give him that operation. They took 7 hours to pick him up from Southend Hospital, didn't even blue light him to the Royal London, so yeah.
And he held your hand and squeezed your hand.
He held my hand, he kept
prior to
he was trying to open his eyes, got lots of pictures of that, tears rolling out of his eyes when they were ripping tapes and things off his mouth, and yeah, and then I think... The biggest thing for me in hospital, apart from obviously 21 court cases they dragged me through because I've refused the brainstem test, was them starving my child, starving and dehydrating my child. And as a mum, I don't think anyone should be put through that. He was absorbing food, and then the lies started to unfold with that, which I've got all the evidence, you know, I've got the evidence, I've got recordings of nurses saying that Archie was absorbing really well today. The acid that they syringe out to see whether he's digesting, you know, I've got all that evidence. But in court, that evidence wasn't being put over. So as a parent, you become very frustrated because you're like, that's not what's happening, you know. It's
so what I'm hearing, which I just find despicable, is not only did you have to see something a parent should never see, that then when you were in hospital with Archie, you were also having to go through court cases.
21 court cases.
To try to fight for your
I think it was 16
sons.
that were actually sort of journaled, but yeah, I think it was 20 or 21 court cases, court appearances that I had to go through, and it cost the NHS a lot of money to take me to court, and my biggest argument was give him time. It's a brain injury, it's not a broken arm. Give him time. You know, the brain is very complex, you know, a child's brain. There's lots that neurologists don't know and scientists don't know about the brain. It's a big learning thing, but what I have studied is so many families. There's a page on Facebook called The Right to Fight, and there's also one Brain Deaf and the Lies, and Brain Deaf Awareness, and I'm part of both, and the stories and whistleblowers that have come up where doctors have said, like, told loved ones, pull the plug, they're not going to make a recovery, they're brain dead, there's no brain activity, there's no blood flow, and the parents or family members have refused to give up, and they've made full recovery, so they're not brain dead, you know. And it seems the whole organ thing is behind that. And
so you educated yourself with child psychology.
I educated myself
first of all, for keeping Archie in mainstream school.
Yeah.
And then you've now educated yourself all about brain damage, brain stems. Can I just say how amazing that is that you've done that, and just take a minute to just really acknowledge, like, that's incredible. That
I definitely don't claim to know everything. I've got
but the
much
fact
to
that
go, but
you've tried.
A lot of it is on. It's hard because my brain's still not processing at the speed it should be processing. So I put the headphones on at the gym, and the only way I can educate myself is to watch pods or videos, and that it seems to stick in then.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a long way to go, but I am educating myself on Archie's records, and I know that there's a lot of corruption involved in Archie's case. He was moved without a spinal board. He didn't even have a neck collar put on. He was literally carried out of my house by his ankle and the back of his shoulder. And I've got that video evidence because it was all caught on my CCTV. But that, again, was brushed under the carpet at the inquest.
I'm medically trained with England Rugby. That's what I used to do. So I understand everything to do with spinal injuries, and to know that that's how Archie was treated. Sorry, that's really taken me back.
It's because I don't really put it out there, you know, because I think the media were great when they were on board, you know, and I think because the only reason I went public to start with is because I didn't know what had happened to Archie. I didn't have a clue. All I knew is that my child would not take his own life, not intentionally. And something wasn't right. He was in my room laughing and giggling, you know, he was a happy little boy. And
with plans to go to the cinema with his favourite person.
Yeah, and looking up his coat that day, he asked me to order the coat. He had lots of plans. He was going to be an MMA champion. He had his first MMA fight. He used to train where we are now. The other side of this wall was Archie's gym. And he had his first fight in 2 weeks. There's messages between him and his friend. He picked out his walkout music. He had plans. He had plans and he had dreams, and I know he would have achieved those. Something has influenced him to copy something, and it's gone wrong. Yeah. It's gone wrong.
So just going back to the hospital, what I'm understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, all these court cases where the hospital wanted to turn off the life support machine.
No, so originally,
and you wanted.
No, originally they took me to court. They done it quite sneaky. They took me to court for the brainstem test because I had refused, because as soon as you refuse, that's basically your child's put on palliative care. Okay. So you've got no rights there. And it was then, they then stuck on that best interests. So basically if the brainstem test one was refused, or he had passed the brain test, they would then go under best interest, what would his quality of life be? Okay. So they very sneakily put it all together. Yeah. And then had the second battle in Archie's very short life of taking on System 2, the NHS and the court system, that I believe work very closely together. And a guardian was brought in, although I had full rights, so I fought over my child. That's my little boy. I learnt very quickly that when your child's in ICU and it's a life or death situation as a parent, you have absolutely no rights. I had no rights for him to go over to 2 other countries that were prepared to take and treat Archie. As a parent, why would you not, even if it failed, why would you not explore that option? Of course we were going to explore that option. Denied. And then the final stage is to give Archie a peaceful, dignified, if you like, as they call it, death in a hospice. That also was refused. He wasn't allowed to go to a hospice. And another thing that really gets to me is his brother Tom found it really hard. We couldn't have private conversations with Archie because you constantly got the 2 nurses in the room. And although there was a handful of nurses there that are absolutely amazing, so good at their job, so much empathy, just really beautiful, kind-hearted nurses that are generally in the job because of their love and passion for the job. There was equally evil staff there that weren't so nice, and singing, and the night before removing Archie's life support, walking around like the room singing, you know, you've got one focus, you know, like they're going to kill my child tomorrow, and she's humming, not singing, sorry, humming, you know, this tune, to the point where my friend had to go and ask another member of staff, can they please sort of have a word with her because it's not appropriate. So and then my son Tom wanted to talk to Archie, and he said, can I just have 2 minutes with him, and that was denied the day they removed his life support. Well, we literally, as parents and family, had absolutely no rights.
Which is just, you wouldn't even imagine that could be the case,
would you? That goes on, no. And which is why I've got Archie's Army law petition up, to give parents rights. If another child can offer your child treatment and it's not at a cost of this country, why should you not be allowed to explore that? You know, if you lose a court case and they're going to they're giving your child the death sentence, why should your child not be allowed to go to a peaceful hospice? Well, we had viewed the hospice, which was obviously the last result. It's not something that I wanted to face, but we had to go and view, and it was declined. The hospice wanted us, they gave us the
they were going to turn off the life support anyway.
Yeah. Oh, he might die in transit. Well, if he's going to die anyway, does it matter? As long as I'm with him. Like, why are you so adamant my child has to die in this hospital room? And this is another thing. I felt like, and it shouldn't be like that. Obviously, I wouldn't have left Archie anyway. His mother, I've never been without Archie, you know. We're together 24/7, but unless he went to his dad's of a weekend, which he didn't really do so much, sort of like that last sort of couple of years. But it's almost like a trust breakdown, you know. I didn't even feel like I could go and get a cup of coffee unless somebody was there to take over and watch Archie, because you've got these people actively trying to end his life. Why should I trust you? And that feeling itself is horrible.
So 1 day shy of 4 months later, it was decided.
Yeah, it was in his best interest to end his life.
Can you talk through that day, or
so the legal criteria is obviously there's 2 ways to pronounce death, and that's obviously cardiac, the heart stops, or brain death, which was invented in 1968, I think it was, 65, 68, and they're the only 2 legal ways. So to declare someone brain dead, you have to have a brainstem test. The brainstem test was ordered by the court, and the examiners that thank God, weren't part of the Royal London Hospital, were sent in, and they asked if Archie was on muscle relaxant drugs because he was failing the cerebral nerve test, and which they've never seen before. There's absolutely no muscle working anywhere. It's like a little electric shock, so they put these pads on you. Electric shocks, he tested it on him, even whacked the voltage right up, you know, it's like, it's definitely working, there's nothing wrong with the machine. He asked that doctor 3 times, has this child been given muscle relaxant drugs? No. I said, well, clearly you're lying, and I want you to stop the test now. And he just said, Hollie, he said, legally I can't go through with this test, so I'm terminating this test now. So the legal criteria, which is why in so many ways there were groundbreaking cases with Archie's court battle for his life support, because it's the first time they've been allowed to end a child's life in this scenario without going the legal way, which would obviously be brainstem testing. You know, that they pronounced Archie dead basically for an MRI scan. That's not a legal definition of death.
So were you and your family allowed to be there when they did turn the machines off?
There's no way they would have got me out of that room.
Yeah. So you all got to be there?
Yeah, we was there.
Yeah. And I just want to take a moment for anyone that's listening, and especially for you, to just let that sit for a moment, because, you know, you went through so much.
I promised Archie that this was the biggest fight of our life. You know, obviously we'd been through one hell of a fight with the education battle, and I'd always said to Archie, we would win. We're going to win, because I'm not giving up. And I made a promise to Archie. No, we didn't, and obviously we won. But I was up against the whole system here, and a very corrupt system. And yeah, I promised him I will fight the whole way. I will never give up fighting. And I think a lot of that plays a huge part now in how I can go on every day, because I know I've done everything in my power as his mum before they sentenced my child to death.
And that's, I'm definitely getting that's what your plight is.
Yeah.
Now, like you mentioned, Archie's Army.
Archie's Army law.
So
yeah, to give other parents the right. You know, if you search up medical interventions and it happens to be in another country and is something the NHS or this country doesn't offer, you should be allowed to take.
So is this in place, or is this something you're currently fighting for?
No, this is what I'm fighting for. So it needs 100,000 signatures, but
and how
I am shadow banned on Facebook, so it's not getting out there. It's not going out to the right people. And the reason I know I'm shadow banned is because I was asked to do a conference, a medical conference, and an online safety conference over in Italy, and the government that took me over said that he had always advertised his conferences and things, never had any issue, but Facebook had rejected it. And when he asked why, it's because my name and Archie's name were mentioned in it. So I know for a fact I am shadow banned. And as far as I'm concerned, anyone that speaks the truth against the system in this country, you're shut down. But thank God, there's a lot of people that educate themselves and they've seen it. They've seen it for themselves with Archie, you know, and we want rights back as a parent. We nurture these children, we bring them into the world. They're our children. And
I will make sure the link is below.
Thank you.
So that people can sign. I know I certainly will be.
Thank you.
Because I didn't know about that. So that's one thing you're doing. I know that you're doing heaps of other things.
Yeah.
Both in your own right and with some other parents, all in honour of
Archie's legacy.
So let's first of all talk about the fact that why you feel, taking out, let's not go with the medical side for a start, let's just go with what happened in the April. In your opinion, from knowing Archie, from being there, what do you feel happened that day?
I believe that he's been influenced by something on social media, and it come as a great shock because I didn't know Archie had any social media. As a parent, I can't say that I ever had to pull Archie for being on his phone, because he just seemed like a child that never really had his phone.
Yeah.
You know, I'd asked his dad to make a bit more effort with seeing Arch those last 3 months. And he said, well, keep phoning him, he never answers his phone. And I said, that's because I don't encourage him to have his mobile phone on impulse. Phone me, and he's always with me. I'll pass the phone to you. You're not on loudspeaker. Yeah. Archie will go off and take the call. So he never gave me any concern. Yeah. You know, he trained 5 nights a week, and when he wasn't training, we was either eating out. And I've always wanted to show my children that there's more to life than just obviously like your street, like your house, your street, you know, and you've got a whole world out there, and if you make the right choices and the right decisions in life, you can get to go and live and explore it.
So, from your understanding, this was TikTok, is that right? Is there a specific challenge that you feel Archie was trying to do?
I do, but I don't want to name it because in case there's, not that there would be children watching this pod, but if they're with the mum in the car listening, I don't want to become the influencer, because the first thing the child will do is go home and look up. Yeah. Although they wouldn't be able to find it now, there's always obviously that risk.
But you were able to identify the challenge that
we
Archie
believe
was
so,
taking part in.
Yeah, we believe so because there's 4 of us as parents that we've now filed a lawsuit in Delaware against TikTok. Yeah. And all 4 of our children, well, there's actually 5, but 4 of us have filed the lawsuit to get our children's data. That TikTok are now saying, oh, sorry, we may have deleted it. Coincidence. But so, and Isaac, Lisa's boy, was the month before Archie, doing exactly the same thing. Okay. And then you've got Jules, who is Ellen Rome. She's really big at the minute, fighting for children's data and parents to have rights 6 days after Archie. And then you've got Maya, who is literally 15 minutes down the road from me. Lisa's boy, Isaac, 15 minutes down the road from me. Ellen's a bit further afield. And then you've got Christophorus, again. I think his parents have found it's linked with online gaming, but the method that these children have done is all exactly in the same way. And
all locality-wise, all quite close,
very close.
Trending in this area as well.
Yeah, so i.e. the algorithm, what's trending at the time. The police were able to tell me that, see, when Archie went in hospital, it was first brought to my attention that he may have done a challenge that was trending on TikTok at the time. Now, as I said, I didn't know Archie was on TikTok, so I was like, oh, I don't think Archie's on TikTok. Obviously, I then found out Archie was on TikTok. Yeah. And it makes sense now because he started doing a few sort of like, get me to film him doing little dance things outside the car and stuff, and I just thought it was really great at the time, you know, his little personality, and it was funny, and I'm glad I did because obviously I've captured all that on video now, but it makes sense, you know. Was it because he's seen this sort of thing on TikTok and what they're doing, you know, the general harmless side of TikTok. And so I asked the police, can you please check Archie's phone for me? It's been brought to my attention, and someone caught their child doing what we believe Archie was doing, because the night before he was mucking around in his sister's room with Lauren and Lily. Lily's Lauren's half-sister. Same dad, but different mums. And he tied the dressing gown cord round Lily's toe, and she was on the floor charging in her phone, and she just laughed and went, oh, Arch, what are you doing? And he just started cracking up laughing, going, don't know, I'm bored. And then he tied it on the door handle and was pulling, tied it on the door handle and around his forehead, not his neck, but his forehead. And Lauren said to him, Arch, if you're going to keep doing that, get out of my room sort of thing, you know. And he stopped and they watched TV together, and and then obviously the next day that. So
I'm guessing these challenges, because I know you've looked a lot into this, these challenges are
I've
very
had
easy
my
for
eyes
children
wide
to find.
open now as a parent.
Because that's scary, because obviously Dec was 24, so when he was younger, none of this existed. So
but you say
that's
you say
quite
that.
scary.
The thing is, I think they've always been there, these challenges, because my older boy Tom said, yeah, we used to do that in school, not with the
really?
ligature thing, but we used to do that in school where you'd like sort of hold someone up against the wall and then like they'd pass out, you know, or something to that effect. But back then it's
suppose it's
contained
just-
within a school, your own
just-
little circle of friends, isn't it?
Yeah,
But because of
yeah.
social media, it's now become, it's out there, you know, but where do adults get off telling or influencing children to do these stuff, knowing you're showing the
So
child the
is
funny
it
side of it?
predominantly adults that are creating
The
these
stuff that I've looked
videos?
into is adults. So I can't say whether he's viewed an adult doing it, but as an adult, if you're going to be influencing children to do this stuff, why are you not showing them the dangers of it?
Yeah.
You know, why are you why would you be saying, okay, see how long it takes to make yourself pass out, but not telling a child, however, if you suspend yourself with a ligature, after 2 minutes you will become unconscious and then you starve your brain of oxygen, you're dead. Basically, you go into cardiac arrest.
To me, I can't understand why anyone would post anything like that in the first place.
I think that's been my biggest eye-opener.
It's
not
very
everybody out
scary.
there is sound-minded,
Yeah.
you know, or where think first
And that-
sort of thing.
Is another part of Archie's legacy that you're doing, is going into schools to try to educate children.
Not children, parents.
Oh, my
Yeah,
mistake. So
so-
can you talk me through what you do then?
Yeah, so Lisa and I, Isaac's mum,
Mm-hmm.
the boy that the month before Archie,
Yeah.
we both got a campaign, Be Challenge Aware, and we're going to the schools to raise awareness with parents because
Mm-hmm.
as parents we felt very much in the dark
Yeah.
over this. You know, the police told me Archie watched 7 minutes of TikTok that day and was sent a message direct from TikTok, but can't tell me what he's watched. It expired. Coins expire after 28 days.
Right.
So as parents, the platforms, all they care about is profit. They're going to allow this harmful content to keep appearing, and as okay, everyone's like, oh well, the parents shouldn't let them on social media, but in my case, you know, there's plenty of parents out there that don't know their children are on social
And
media.
you can't watch them 24/7.
You can't watch them 24/7, and this is another thing. And I feel very social media negligent in the fact that I should have known about this stuff, you know, but as a proactive physical mum, I'm more the physical side with my children. I don't do tech, which is why I've never bought my children computers and phones. And it's not my department, you know. If a computer broke and one of my children would ask me, I wouldn't have a clue, so I just don't do the tech world. I'm no good with that stuff myself, you know. I do Facebook, and there was originally an Instagram page for Arch, but I don't really do tech. I'm more proactive.
And what's the message you give to these parents? What
open
is the
transparency
key
with your children?
Message?
Yeah, we really encourage open transparency. Don't, if your child tells you something, don't shut them down or go within themselves by telling them off. You know, encourage that open conversation. If they've seen something harmful, that's okay, that's not your fault. Or encourage them, you know, like, oh, well, what have you been watching today? You just get them to show you algorithm, because normally the way the algorithm works is, unfortunately, your child can't unsee what they're seeing, and there's a lot of self-harm. There's a lot of child sexual exploitation. There's like body shaming, you know. There's so much, obviously the online challenges, there's so much. It's basically grooming your children. And as one of the things I do say on our workshops is, I've always done everything in my power to keep my children safe. Probably overwrapped them in cotton wool a little bit, really, because I was brought up very much a streetwise kid, just chucked out onto the street. You know, it didn't do us any harm, but it don't mean I wanted to raise my children like that. Now I'm starting to think maybe there should have been a bit of a balance, but as a parent, I've done everything to protect my children. No one could ever harm my children. However, the harm comes to my children in their own home, and that hurts, because as a parent, I believe I've done everything to protect my children. But when you give your child a mobile phone, you're allowing 1 billion strangers into their own home.
Yeah.
If you've got a daughter that's upstairs on a mobile phone, a 12-year-old or 13-year-old girl upstairs on the mobile phone, you could have 1 billion men out there talking to her.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as the parent walks in, child shuts down the phone.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're like, right, give me that search history, which is showing your child that there's no trust between you, you know,
it's
which we don't encourage.
Medium,
yeah, definitely.
Isn't there? So you're educating parents, you're trying to do Archie's Army, which is so that
parental rights,
so that you can find out. Yeah. With the TikTok lawsuit, what is it you're trying to change within TikTok?
I don't think TikTok are ever going to change, but we want our children's data and
so
that's
the harmful
to do with content offline, which they say they give this very powerful corporate BS, as we like to call it. The same statement: we remove 99% of harmful content online. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, that sounds really impressive. Yeah. Well done, TikTok. You're doing a great job. But what they don't tell you is so they're leaving that 1% of billions and billions and billions of videos is a hell of a lot of harmful content that's still reaching your children out there. And it's not acceptable. It's get rid of the harm, get a whole team in to watch this content before it's going up. If you can't, it should be your job. It's our job as parents to be responsible for our children, and there's a lot that we can do, which is why we are trying to raise that awareness with parents. Just look out for this, look out for the mood changes, look out for anything that your child might come out and say to you that's a bit like there was a red flag with Archie, and I totally overlooked that red flag. Him and his friend said at my best friends, actually, they were playing, she's like, boys, and they both come in the kitchen and said, we can make ourselves pass out. Didn't really think of anything of it. Huge red flag. Pass out, let's breath play.
Yeah.
So what I wish I would have done now is said to Arch, what do you mean pass out? But I think at the time, I didn't, because Arch was an SEN child, I didn't highlight or pay attention to anything negative. Everything was very, very positive with me and Archie. I didn't want any negativity around him, and if anything negative would creep in, I overrode it with positivity. You know, like, this isn't the end of the world. Like, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I wish I would have had that conversation with Archie. Now, you know, what do you mean you can make yourself pass out? Like, where did that come from?
But you're using that pain now to try to
turn into purpose.
Make sure that other parents
and that is a saying that Ellen, Lisa, Liam and I all use. We're turning pain into purpose. With I can't sit here and say I've even started grieving for Archie, and if there'll be people out there that think that's wrong and other people will get it, but if I go to my grave and I don't have to feel that, then I'm okay with that. While I'm here, it's my mission to save children's lives and fight for parental rights, and that's what I'm going to do.
Which, what an amazing purpose to have, and what an amazing legacy.
Keeps me going as well. It does keep me going. There's an alternative, and that is to lay curled up in bed, get depressed, and take my own life? No. Which is obviously what the trolls wanted me to do. I don't think so.
So how would you say this last 3.5 years has changed you personally?
Yeah, 3 years April was the accident, and then 3 years since the death sentence, as I call it. It's changed me massively. I struggled to find a new identity. I don't know who I am anymore.
That's
I
one
know
thing
what I'm
being
doing.
a grieving mum, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Finding
Everything's
who are
changed.
you when...
Well, I didn't go back to my home because I left with Archie, and then the first time I went back to the home is I had Archie home the night before his funeral. I took him home, and so we went home together. That was the first time I went back home. Too triggering. And then I come away again, and I didn't go home until I think it was late October, maybe early November. I just couldn't be in the house, and I'm the same now. I'm over with Arch every day. I go and have, before I was probably there all day, you know, which isn't healthy for the mind, but it's how I chose to get through each day, and each day I get through is positive.
Yeah.
Or that's how I was seeing it back then. And then I just thought, I've got to start functioning every day. And so I started to, I think back then I went to the gym, so I'd come and have a coffee with Archie in the morning, off to the gym, come back, and then carry on a normal life throughout the day, keep nipping back and forth, and then finally come and say goodnight at night time. I think that was very hard as well, coming away from him, leaving him somewhere in the dark when
I get that.
a mum wouldn't, it's not what you do. You don't leave your children away from home and somewhere in the dark. It's very, so that was very hard for me, you know, and I had to come to terms with, you're not leaving him, okay, you're leaving his resting place, you're not leaving him. So that took a long time to sort of get my head round, but got there.
Yeah.
Did get there. And like I've always said, it doesn't matter what you do, everyone's got a different grieving journey or how they process things. It doesn't matter what you do, if it gets you for another day or if it brings you comfort.
Definitely.
Sod what anyone else thinks. You know, it's not anyone else's
It's
journey.
not.
It's
No
your
one,
story.
Exactly. This is an Archie story, and only you know how that can be written.
Yeah.
And what's right for you. And I feel so privileged that you have joined me in the back of Duck's van and told me all about your boy and what you're doing now. I just want to say a humongous thank you.
Thank you.
That you've let me and the listeners into your life, into your story. And thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Next Wednesday, I will be joined by Jenny, the mother of TikTok sensation Leah Smith, who shared her diagnosis of cancer and her 5-year battle with over 500,000 of her TikTok followers. She passed away, aged only 22. But whilst here, she changed lives of so many people, and Jenny talks about how her legacy is continuing with Leah's Little Sunflowers. This podcast is in honour of my son Declan, and for anyone out there who's lost someone they love, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and I hope in some small way this helps you feel a little less alone. Keep your heart safe until next time. And don't forget to follow or subscribe. Your support helps keep this podcast going.